Hello, I'm Mark Walker from AbilityNet. Thank you for joining us at the Fireside Chat with Irmgarda here. We're going to be chatting about her work at UNESCO and inclusive media and communication. So, hi, how are you doing?
Thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome. Could you introduce yourself and say a bit about what your work is at UNESCO?
I'm Irmgarda KASINSKAITE-BUDDEBERG, so I am advisor for communication information, and I'm working on projects related to media development, diversity and pluralism.
Right. Globally?
Yes, that's right. I work at UNESCO headquarters in Paris.
Okay, so for anyone who doesn't know what UNESCO is, can you explain a little bit about that broad picture of what UNESCO is trying to achieve as an agency?
UNESCO is one of the UN special agencies for education, science, culture, communication and information. So we work in those areas, and I work specifically on communication information issues. And within the context of this conference, of course, I'm here for promotion of inclusive media.
Okay, and is that, so there's an element of that that's building on the whole picture of trying to make education more accessible more broadly, and then the communication is an element of that that you're focusing on in terms of disability in particular. And when we talk about accessibility, it could mean a number of things, but from your point of view, talking particularly about trying to provide information for people who are disabled in an appropriate format. And what sort of challenges are you addressing? I mean, what's the big problems that UNESCO is sort of seeing in this area?
In the area of media development, that's primarily actually my focus area where I'm working currently. One of the challenges what we see, what we cannot deny anymore, that media makes a big impact on our lives,
right.
In our habits, experience, attitudes. And this is why it is important that media would be accurately reporting, covering disability issues, and at the same time not forgetting that we have plenty of technical standards in place, good practices where media content, audiovisual content would be accessible. And that's what is required, what processes in media houses would be adjusted, and the technical staff in particular would make content accessible. But that goes as well together with inclusive management and operation practices, particularly providing support and decent working conditions for media professionals with disabilities. So that's what it's a objective what we have, at least in this area, what we are working on, and I think it gives opportunity, Zero Project, to discuss about those issues.
Yeah, yeah, and to, again, just to narrow it down, you're talking, when you say media companies, therefore, like TV companies, public broadcasting companies, private companies, across the whole sort of media landscape, all of that is part of your remit in the sense of trying to transform that industry.
Yes, as a part of the promotion of pluralism in media, obviously we want to have a mix of different media stakeholders, and primarily we focus on work of public service broadcasters, community media, and obviously that comes together in different parts of the world. You have state-owned media and private media. So that's basically the scope of our initiatives, really focusing on public broadcasters and community media in particular.
Right. And so,
but obviously that's relevant to all media.
Absolutely,
without
yeah,
any
I guess
exception.
you're trying to bring the translator across the whole piece. And in terms of where they're at just now, how would you say, what is the picture for somebody who's on the other end, the person who's consuming the media? How accessible is it? Have we got a long way to go? Are we halfway there? How much of the content is actually accessible and relevant to disabled people in terms of the stuff that you're seeing?
I think we're on the right track, and I could see a big improvement last year, especially with technical accessibility, information accessibility picking up. And looking from the, let's say, coverage point of view or reporting point of view, there are more and more major, I would say, public service broadcasters who pay attention to disability reporting, but the disability reporting would be inclusive, fair, and as well respecting human rights, first of all. Not only portraiting from medical point of view, not looking only at social aspect, but as well looking at the rights of people with disabilities. So I would say here it is an important emphasis is what we are picking up more and more, and I speak we as different stakeholders, on different aspects which are being introduced by different stakeholders about convention and related to this, people with disabilities rights. And there are specific articles related to accessibility, freedom of expression, access to information for people with disabilities. So this is why media is mandated as well to provide more inclusive content. So it means what making changes in editorial policies, introducing issues of disability importance in, for instance, election processes, political debates, social, cultural, let's say, programs. But it would be not only, let's say, very specific events. For instance, yesterday we had a discussion about sports where
Yeah.
Again, this is one of the really very popular programs. And if it is really, let's say, related to Paralympics or other, let's say, games, so we discuss very specifically about, let's say, athletes with disabilities. But what we see last years with media is producing more diverse content. So it means that we're introducing issues related to disability across different programs, and this is what it is promising. But obviously, we still need to raise awareness among media professionals. There are different media frames, there are different, let's say, terminology which are being introduced, and it is evolving. So there are certain terms which we'll be using in the past, we are maybe now replaced or new are introduced, and obviously moving towards to accessible content and making changes at a workplace.
Yeah. So in terms of the editorial and the content, what sort of challenges from the public broadcaster point of view, what are they saying to you that they want to know? What are the lessons they need some help with, or the support that they need? Because that's you're providing some guidelines to them. What sorts of questions are they asking you? I'm wondering what problems they're trying to solve that you're helping them with.
From our research, what we did while we were designing the practical manual, which will be released very shortly by UNESCO on disability and equality for media, we could see it clearly. What there is very often media professionals, we simply would like to report, but we are not sure how to do it.
Okay.
So I would say sometimes there is a question only just raising awareness and actually stimulating the discussion and helping maybe reporter to report, let's say, more inclusive way, maybe just giving some very simple tips. Sometimes, of course, there are issues which deserve more attention. We need as well a little bit of more, let's say, investigative practices and looking at other aspects, let's say, related to climate change, to women's rights, and so on, which may be as well overlapping with other areas and subjects. But I would say, in general, that's one of the first things is how to do this.
What to do.
Yeah.
And I guess a fear as well. I mean, often with disability people are afraid of saying the wrong thing, and they're in the media being the worst place to get that wrong, I guess.
And that's one of the objectives is actually to encourage media to report.
Yes, to begin actually talking about it because they're not.
Yeah.
And you mentioned your guidelines. So what's the plan with the actual stuff you're publishing shortly?
Yes, that's an excellent question. One of the things what we've been working since 1 year now to produce the practical guidelines. There are a number of resources already available specifically targeting, let's say, how to portray persons with disabilities, what the terminology to use, but we observe that over time those things are changing, especially terminology. And this is why one of the objectives of practical manual is the target audience is media professionals. So that's where the language, the structure, the issues, what we want to cover, really primarily target media professionals. And that means we aim to address the issues what are discussed by editorial teams, for instance, editors, reporters, cameramen, let's say editors who work together, and obviously providing guidelines to technical teams, designers, how to produce accessible content, and targeting human resource managers, senior managers who make, let's say, decisions whether workplace and workforce are more inclusive and diverse. So this is why the practical manual, I believe it's going to be a useful resource for everyone. And I would say as well, I would probably emphasize what this practical manual will be released as open educational resource. So it means that anybody who would like to use it and revise it will be able to do it. And later this year, there will be few field offices around the world. Our field offices which work on media development issues, we will be piloting the guidelines and introducing to the capacity building workshops, presenting this to media professionals. Okay. Maybe another thing what I would like to add as well, what we decided with practical manual, of course it's kind of a lot of text, many references, references to good practices, but we produce as well a master classes, a series of master classes.
And who will be leading those?
We collaborated with Ms. Sophie Morgan, so she's a very famous journalist from UK, and she's actually herself with disabilities, and one of the, I would say, very influential journalists in the world. So she agreed to host, so she's actually addressing her colleagues in a way what it would be appealing for media professionals. So we will be released together with practical manual master classes.
Oh, fantastic! And you're describing a big ecosystem there, though, with your, from the what's being presented on the screen, and then the whole back office, all of the talent and everything like that. Is there a particular focus that you're starting with, where you think you'll have the first sort of real push through to make the change happen? Is it the journalists, or is it the backroom staff? What do you think is going to sort of tip it over in terms of the change?
It very much depends what is the stakeholder.
Right.
Of course, a media organization is a big organization usually, unless we really speak about small community, let's say a radio station, which may have only a few staff members. But
Right.
I would say the practical manual is useful whether it is a big size organization or small one, because those processes exist across different, let's say, regardless of size. But obviously, probably the scope of implementation, how it could be addressed, what are the, let's say, resources will be used, and timeline, that could vary between organizations. So I would say, yes, there is one part which is really relevant to editorial teams, making editorial policies more inclusive, programming more inclusive and equitable, and then of course addressing the issues of accessibility with our really technical teams, and that depends as well whether we already been doing certain things on accessibility. Is it just a question of making few adjustments, or really starting from scratch and introducing
Building it in from the start.
yes, or as well addressing the the needs of managers.
Right.
Why workplace is not inclusive and diverse, and what needs to be done. So it depends.
Well, we often talk about carrots and sticks, trying to get change made. So there's no stick, I guess. Is there something legally that they were going to be compliant? Is there an element of that within the whole picture, or are you really taking them something and saying they want to do this as a carrot for them? Is they're going to be more inclusive, they're going to get bigger viewership, they're going to have more diverse workplaces, those sorts of things. How do they view that? Do they have regulatory responsibilities which this links to?
As we work at global level, obviously every country has different regulatory process and of course legislation and law in place, so we can see it, but it's vary between countries. But one of the emphasis is, of course, we do have in almost every single country public service broadcaster, national broadcaster, and usually that's the first organization, media organization, which would be basically broadcasting or reflecting the views of public interest. Yeah. And we usually do have in the regulations, in the code of ethics, the reflection, let's say, certain aspects which needs to be covered, including disability. Yeah. So that's probably one of the first starting points. There are other countries which, of course, have technical standards in place, and we have to comply. So media organizations will be definitely those which may be already introducing certain things or have already since some time. So it very much depends. But let's not forget what United Nations Convention on the Rights of People with Disabilities is one of the most ratified in the world. It was actually one of the fastest ratified conventions. And that means that majority of world countries have ratified already, and not only, let's say, ratified, but as well even adopted a number of the operational, let's say, initiative standards in place. So that means that we do have already certain normative elements in place, segments in place for media to move and become more accessible and inclusive.
So this is a positive step for them because they're learning more as they go deeper into that journey. Brilliant.
And not only that, it's as well discovering a new audience.
Yeah, of
People
course.
with disabilities in the audience. Maybe it's not a new for some, but obviously maybe not enough opportunities, let's say, explored yet. Yeah. So that's one of the, as well, probably opportunities to generate new revenues for media organizations, addressing better the needs of audience with disabilities.
Yeah. So you're saying they're going to be published. When are they? When will people be able to see them and begin to consume them? And I have got another question, which is how often are they going to be updated? Because presumably there'll be an organic process here. As you start to do your masterclasses, you'll be feeding back into the resources. Is that the picture that you have for, I don't know, however long, a couple of years ahead potentially, this program, I guess, to roll it out?
I hope it would be released in May.
Okay.
So that's the objective is. And as I mentioned, it is an open education resource.
Yeah.
So we'll be releasing openly the resource, the practical manual. So it means that basically the first thing what we would expect during the pilot phase during this year, what will be some adjustments made. And I would believe that those institutions will be using the practical manual. We will introduce certain changes, so it will be possible to adapt to localize. And the next step would be as well to make translations from English to other languages and to use them around the world. So there is no immediate objective to revise them, but I think it will be a natural process because
Brilliant, thank you. Well, it's fantastic. I mean, it's a mind-boggling scale of what you're doing. You know, across all of those different media ecosystems, all those different organisations you're trying to engage with, and then the work in actually putting that in front of them and getting them to engage with it. You know, through things like the masterclasses, I think sounds fantastic, and I'm sure a lot of people will want to see those resources and be sharing them within their communities and networks as well. So it's wonderful, and I look forward to seeing the success of it as well, and seeing more inclusive reporting. What are you seeing from your own point of view? Do you see as a particular success thing that you want to see from the point of view of this program? How will you know that it's beginning to work? How will you be saying, oh yeah, that's beginning to bite now? What's the next step for you?
I would like to see content which is more diverse, and more inclusive. What we cover, let's say, more aspects of disability around the world. I would like to see as well that content would be more accessible, and obviously would lead to the changes in management structures, in processes, to see more media professionals with disabilities. Not only those who just news figures, but seeing more, discovering more views from information sources. Right. So it means that we would see more people with disabilities giving interviews, sharing their views, their opinion, but as well in management positions in media institutions. So that's what we would expect, that it would lead to certain changes in internal policies, introduction of new guidelines, and obviously more content and better coverage.
Brilliant. Well, thank you, Irmgarda. It's fantastic. I really look forward to seeing the documentation. Thank you very much for joining us, and I hope you enjoyed that chat that we've just had. Thank you. Great. So we're just waiting for the